Right, Shalom, giving all praise and all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'Hashem Yahushai, Ba'Hashem Rahakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that will well. Shalom to you, argument pushing this word around the globe in faith and in truth and sincerity. As always, I'd like to begin by saying that we are the real Hebrew Israelites. The real Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, West Indians and West Africans. Predominantly, however, you are going to get Israelites that do look like the other nations because Israel has been scattered amongst all people throughout our various captivities. But if your seed line, which is your lineage by your forefathers, goes back to Abraham, Isaac and Jacob, then you too are an Israelite no matter what you may look like. Because, as I always say, pertaining to Numbers chapter 1 and verse 18, your nationality is determined by the lineage of your forefathers. Okay? So I'm just back through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai to do another quick lesson. I was just reading this news article and it says, from the Daily Mirror, this is published I think 3 hours ago. Yeah, near enough. It says, next coronavirus rule change coming into law on Friday for pubs and hair salons. It says, until now, leaving your details was voluntary. But from this Friday, it becomes the law for pubs, cafes and restaurants, as well as beauty salons and tourist attractions to take your details. Right, let me just quickly play this video and see if anything edifying comes out of it. No, that's nothing. Just get on with the lesson. So, where are we? It says, a new coronavirus law affecting how people eat out and socialise will come into force this Friday. The rule for pubs, cafes and restaurants will apply to other hospitality businesses, close contact venues such as beauty salons and tourist attractions such as zoos. The next change announced by Prime Minister Boris Johnson will make a difference to anyone planning on eating or drinking in the venue from this Friday. It could also apply to anyone getting a haircut or visiting a cinema, bowling alley or amusement arcade. The change in law means that all venues will have to take contact details for people who are eating or drinking in, but not those taking away. Until now, the step has been voluntary, but from this Friday, it becomes mandatory. So if you want to eat or drink in a pub or eat in a cafe or restaurant, you'll have to leave your name, address, phone number and email. Some bullshit, man. The rule which will define later this week, could also apply if you step into a barber's to get your haircut or walk into a cinema to watch a film. Businesses will have to keep information for 21 days and hand it over to NHS Test and Trace when asked to do so. If you do not provide your details, you may be refused entry. There will also be fixed penalties for organisations that do not comply. Venues could be fined if they fail to ensure their premises remain COVID secure, such as failing to take specified steps to collect information or taking bookings for groups of more than 6. Health and Social Care Secretary Matt Hancock said NHS Test and Trace is a vital part of the government's response to fighting coronavirus. It's designed to help us return to a more normal way of life and reduce the need for local lockdowns in the future. The system cannot operate without the cooperation of businesses. We are now mandating venues collect the necessary contact details and support NHS Test and Trace to stop the spread of coronavirus. The new rules mean organisations in scope will legally be required to request the contact details of every customer and visitor on their premises. Venues must keep record of all staff working on the premises on a given day and their contact details. These will be stored for 21 days and shared with the NHS Test and Trace if required. This will assist NHS Test and Trace to effectively contact anyone, so it's like everyone, who may have been exposed to the virus during an outbreak in these settings, and to provide appropriate health advice. This will help stop the onward spread of the virus. The contact details include name and contact number, date of visit and arrival time and departure time. Business security Alok Sharma said each and every one of us needs to play our part to control the virus and avoid a second deadly peak. While the vast majority of businesses have done an incredible job following the guidance to keep customers safe, we are now making it the law for certain establishments to collect life-saving NHS test and trace data and to keep this on record for 21 days. We need to take these tough measures now to reduce the risk of local lockdowns in the future. If we don't all pull together to drive this virus down, businesses will need to close and people's jobs will be put at risk, serious risk. So there you have it, more unrighteous decrees from the devil, Esau, Edom. Now, what you can see, this data gathering, what it's essentially leading to is the mark of the beast, essentially, because a lot of people are going to get pissed off about having to always give their contact details whenever they go into a shop to sign in, sign out, all this kind of bullshit. So people are going to see it as an inconvenience. Therefore, when Esau does offer the mark of the beast, the RFID implantable microchip, people are going to jump at it because it'll mean like, oh, it's so much more convenient. You don't have to sign in and give your contact details when you go into a shop anymore or a restaurant. All you need to do is just wave your wrist in front of the RFID reader and you're in and you're out, and it's going to be so much simpler for them. So this is Esau's big push towards that. And all it is just, again, showing that the devil is coming down onto us having great wrath, because he knows that you have but a short time, which is Revelation 12 and 12, which I'll bring out later. But the first precept I'm going to get is on unrighteous decrees. So let me see what I've got here. Yeah, this is exactly what I was thinking of. Let me go on then. Let me go in. So Micah 2 and 1. This is the book of Micah chapter 2 and verse 1. It says, "Woe to them that devise iniquity, and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand." This is talking about you Edomites, you so-called white people, because you're not white, you're actually red, because the blood shows forth through your skin, because you've got biblical leprosy. And this comes from your forefather Esau in the Bible, who was Jacob's brother, and going back in reincarnation he was Cain, which is when the mark of leprosy was put upon him in the first place. But let's get into this. It says, "Woe to them that devise iniquity, and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. And they covet fields, and take them by violence, and houses, and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage." So I want to get another precept just quickly. This is Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 1. It says, "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and they that write grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn away the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that the widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless." So woe to them that decree unrighteous decrees. And this is nothing but unrighteous decrees that Esau's passing now, because he knows he has a short time. So let me read this one more time. I'm going to jump to Revelation 10 verse 10. "Woe to them that decree unrighteous decrees, and they that write grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. Jumping on to Revelation chapter 10 and verse 10. It says 10 and 12, Slakia. 12 and 10, I should say. Well, 12 and 12, silly me. It says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that ye have but a short time." Jumping on to Revelation 13:16 on the mark. Starting from Revelation 13:14, "And he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had the power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by the sword and did live." And I went into this earlier, the beast that had the wound by the sword was the Roman Empire and did live, because what we're living in is the revival of the Roman Empire. So that's the beast being spoken of. "And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Moving on to Revelation 14 and 9 is the judgment that comes for taking that mark, which is why we're always prophesying about it, trying to warn the elect of the nation of Israel, and the hopeful elect of the 1/3 of the nation of Israel, not to take this mark, because if you do, it's your ass. Revelation 14 and 7. Well, 14 and 6, Lakia. And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear the Most High, and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of waters. Here's the point. And there followed another angel, saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all the nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and they shall be tormented with fire and brimstone, in the presence of the holy angels, and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up for ever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receive the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of the Most High, and the faith of Yahweh Shai. Now here's the point. When it says these people are going to be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the Holy Lamb and the angels, that's talking about the thermonuclear destruction which is going to hit Babylon the Great, the America, which is called America today. So that place is going to be bombarded with nukes, and also it's going to be blazed up by the chariots of Israel, which is the chariots of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, which are spoken of all throughout the scriptures. What the world even calls UFOs, they're the chariots of Israel. Alright, so this is all what Esau's leading up to by putting out these unrighteous decrees. He's basically using what we term as gradualism, to gradually condition these people to be more receptive to taking the RFID, implantable mark of the beast, when Esau implements it. So it's all this is designed towards funneling these people into receiving the mark. So that's all this is about, man. So, we're supposed to be prophets and watchmen, so I'm just putting it out there for those who can receive it. So with that, giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, B'Hashem HaKadosh. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that rule well. And shalom to you elect Haki, pushing this word around the globe in faith and in truth and sincerity. And until the next lesson, Lord willing, I'll say shalom wa abad baba.